Hey, what's up guys and gals? My name is Rick 9G. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be talking about the Twilight Zone. Now, if you're a fan of the Twilight Zone, check out my Twilight Zone playlist for more videos. Really shocking behind the scenes pieces of information with tidbits, factoids, things that you will enjoy. If you like what I do, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's a free way to help out the channel, and it makes so much of a difference. Now, the episode I'll be speaking about today is from Season 3. It's number 19. It's called The Hunt. It aired January 26, 1962. When it aired, that's pretty important because we're going to come back to it in just a little bit. Now, a lot of you are big fans of this episode. Why? Because it has a wonderful message. It's all about Mr. Simpson. Now, his wife is named Rachel, and they've been married for 50 years. Now, they're simple country folk, and they live in a small cabin in the mountains. A little bit more about that mountain in just a little bit. Now, one evening after dinner, this man, Mr. Simpson, and his dog go off hunting raccoons. But when the dog jumps in to hunt for one of the raccoons into a stream, Mr. Simpson jumps inside to rescue him. He wakes up the next morning realizing that they spent the night in the woods. When he gets home, strange things begin to happen. He and his dog are invisible to everyone who's around them, including his wife. He sees her dressed in black and figures out that he's died. Not only him, but his dog. And this begins his journey, one where he has to make a lot of choices. Now, Mr. Simpson's dog is named Rip. That is not an accident. I don't know how many of you caught that. It's pretty cool. It's an obvious allusion to what? Rest in peace. I never put two and two together. I think it's a simple thing, but it may pass by a lot of people, but I did want to let you know. What type of dog breed was this dog? He's a blue tick coonhound, interestingly enough. And although the actor who plays Mr. Simpson, Arthur Honeycutt, says he was 70 years old, he was actually 51 at the time that this was filmed. They were just made to look a lot older. Now, I do need to talk about the beginning of this episode with a really particular, interesting set piece. It was the cabin. Now, if you take a close look at the cabin, if you're a fan of other 1960s television shows, if you're a fan of a sitcom in the 1960s, this cabin makes another prominent role. Now, are you a fan of the show The Beverly Hillbillies? Well, remember in the beginning, when the hillbillies are living out in the woods and they're in a cabin? Well, this is the exact same building. In fact, they used the same building, quote-unquote, prop, and they used it again in the Twilight Zone, which I think is absolutely amazing. It's kind of shocking because you don't know until you finally find this out. And then when you see it, it's really hard to unsee it. As I mentioned, this Twilight Zone episode comes out in January of 62, but the first episode of what? The Beverly Hillbillies came out September of the same year in 1962, and so that tells you a lot. Remember, Twilight Zone is an anthology series, so the cabin was only used once in that episode, and pretty much that's it. So what did they do? They didn't tear that prop down. They used it again in another show with the Clampetts, and if you notice, what they did was just turn the cabin just a little bit. They used the other side of the cabin as the entrance. You could see the porch is the same porch. It's got the upside down V roof with the chimney. You can also see the little front porch area with the cover right on top. I'm missing the name right now. But then you can even see the porch area is pretty much the same. The windows, it is the exact same building. So a bit of a revelation here in the ending of the video where we see that Mr. Simpson and his wife abandon the cabin. It is no longer needed, and it would make sense that the Twilight Zone and the Beverly Hillbillies are in the same universe, meaning after the Simpsons left the cabin, it was left empty for the Clampetts to use, and the Clampetts are themselves in the Twilight Zone. Why? Because all of a sudden, look at this magical situation of Jed shooting up a bubbling pool and hitting oil. Really? How likely is that? Or is this all part of the Twilight Zone? They were paid for all their oil, up to $100 million. And then finally they moved to California, Beverly Hills, and they had the crazy mansion. And all these things and situations happened to them. In fact, they were on TV. And so we could say that there is a commonality in the universe of these two stories because the same cabin was used. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's mind-blowing. You could say that the Beverly Hillbillies was the sequel, and essentially the cabin is the center of this Twilight Zone. So crazy, such a cool theory, but it actually works, and there's nothing to really contradict it. Now, I want to know if you're a fan of the Beverly Hillbillies and the Twilight Zone. Did you ever notice this? Now you know which one comes first. It's the whole chicken and the egg, which one came first, right? But it's really cool to see this. So I want to know your thoughts down below. Have you seen both of these episodes, the Twilight Zone and the one I'm referring to, the first couple episodes of the Beverly Hillbillies? Let me know in the comments down below. I always love to hear your thoughts, ideas, comments, and even cool insights that you may have. We'll see you all next time. Don't forget to continue to browse the channel for more classic TV and movie content. We'll see you all next time, and don't forget, everyone, no matter what, be hopeful. Thank you to all my supporters, especially my Diamond tier patrons: Christopher K, John O, David D, Sally N, Jerry D, Vito L, Citizen Kane, Jennifer P, and Kevin K. If you want to be on this list, make sure to check out the link in the description. It's all of you patron members who make my channel possible. Thanks!